Hello, welcome to the 42 introduction session. We're recording this now, and if you see this video, that means that for 99% you have completed our application process and played the logic tests, the algorithmic thinking test. Congratulations. You are on your way to study with us at 42 in Wolfsburg. And well, we're very proud to have you, and we're looking forward to giving you an overview of what studying at 42 in Wolfsburg really entails. So for the next 30 minutes or so, we will give you an overview of the approach, of the actual building, of the process, what you can expect in the Piscine. And we hope you'll join us after that for a Q&A session where we can address and clarify all the open questions and ideas that you have. So without further ado, let's start the session. So first of all, I want to introduce the 42 Wolfsburg team. There's of course me. I'm the CEO and headmaster of the school. I have a background in computer science and business, and then asked too many why questions and ended up with a PhD in philosophy, where I thought a lot about creative destruction, aka entrepreneurship, and how technology influences our society and the way we live and learn. Then I did 2 startups and ended up working for Google, which I thought would be a short 2-year session or so, but here we go. Almost 11 years later, 42 found a new chapter in my life, and now I'm really looking forward to organize the school and to be your host for this session and for your studies, hopefully. Now, who else do we have? We have Lotte Hagemann, who is a student at 42 in Amsterdam, but is currently our developing intern. So she helps set up all the tech and your learning environment. In particular, today she's going to contribute a couple of minutes about the actual study that she enjoys in 42 in Amsterdam, so you have a first-hand experience of how it is to study at 42. Then we have Lisa Stam. She's also from the Netherlands, also has several years of experience working with CODAM, the 42 school in Amsterdam. She's our marketing lead and will talk you through the admissions process and how it is to get started at 42. And last but certainly not least, we have Philip von Bieberstein, who is a long-term Google colleague and who kindly leads our operations in the moment. He will go through the actual Piscine experience as well as going through some of the questions that you might have. Okay, so let's get started. We have the first question, why 42? That is a funny name. I guess most of you have Googled it at this point, but it comes from a very unique book, I would say. It's called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It actually was written or first published as a radio play 42 years ago. So now is really the moment for 42 to come to Germany. We have this answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything already. Now we need to figure out why 42, and that's part of the learning challenge that we want to send you on. What is the answer to the ultimate question of life? What do you want to do with your life? I think most of you come because you want to become programmers, but why do you want to become programmers? I love the deep philosophical questions that are attached to this seemingly simple question. The book has really many funny aspects, like the robot Marvin that you see here on the right. He's actually a depressed robot. So again, I love how he takes technology and connects it with our human aspirations and our human conditions. And on the cover of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is an actual book that tells you how to travel through space, it says in big letters, "Don't panic." And we have already adopted that as the motto in our school. You know, life is very complicated and projects don't work out. There's so much going on. One of the best advice is don't panic and don't lose your self-confidence, lose your self-control. The feeling that you are in charge here is something that we really want to encourage and build out as a mindset for our 42 students. So, what is 42 as a school network? It started as École 42 in 2013 in Paris and has evolved ever since. So the materials that you see are really battle proven. They have been developed for more than 7 years and updated and evolved. They're now used in more than 30 campuses worldwide in more than 20 countries. And it's said to be one of the most rigorous software engineering education programs out there. So while we are a new school, the message here is, you know, there are more than 10,000 students who have already organized and used these programs. And so, you know, you're moving on very good paths. Now, 2 points that we think are really important to know about the school is that it's not free, but your tuition is actually covered by our sponsors. I will elaborate a little bit on our sponsor Volkswagen in a moment, but we're certainly looking forward to find more sponsors to get organize even more aspects of our program for you. And you need absolutely no qualification to show, no diploma, no school certificates. All you need is you know, be talented in thinking about logical questions, as you have proven in the games that you played, and then that the approach is actually a fit for you. So that you enjoy learning and you are self-motivated. We will go into that in a little more detail. So as I said, the 42 school in Wolfsburg was initiated by Ralf Linde and colleagues from Volkswagen, but also from the city of Wolfsburg and from the Wolfsburg AG, for example. And Volkswagen and Ralf really see 42 as a high potential new way of educating the next generation of software engineers, and we have his full backing. He's the president of our not-for-profit association, and also Beate Hofer, one of the key people organizing IT in Volkswagen. She's a chief information officer, is a member of our association and is looking forward to work with us to find good internship opportunities and hiring opportunities within Volkswagen. It is very important to make sure everybody is clear that Volkswagen is interested in working with our students, but it's really you, the students, who are in control where you want to work, what specialization you want to take. We, as a 42 team, are determined to help you find out what you want to do professionally, how you want to organize your life. And you know, some of you will work as freelancers, some of you will start your own companies, some of you will go to competitors of Volkswagen, and that's totally okay. It's really essential to say that 42 is part of a school network. We're not part of the Volkswagen organization. Now, how do I 42? What does it actually mean to study with us? You probably heard about the buzzwords. We have no professors, no lectures, and there's no certificate in the end. And we think that's actually a much better way to study because the motivations are different, and the freedom, the timelines that you're using are much more customized to what works for you. So what the approach is really that you get you start with easy projects, all, real applied environments, and you yourself go about finding solutions for how to address those challenges. And we think that gives you a real proven confidence of going about the challenges that happen in all projects and in real life scenarios, and that you take responsibility and solve the problems that are happening along the way. Very importantly, the peer learning aspect, the fact that we don't have professors, that you're actually giving feedback to each other, that you're evaluating each other's work, that gives you really good social skills that are important for teamwork and to work in all scenarios. Needless to say that the fact that the studies are in English will make you able to work wherever you want on the planet, pretty much, because English is the lingua franca of our time. For those who'd love to go a bit deeper on our learning approach, I highly recommend Professor Mitchell Resnick's book, Lifelong Kindergarten. He has a research group at the MIT Media Lab, which I also highly recommend you to check out. And he sums it up that the approach is about projects, passion, peers, and play. And you will see that really interesting things happen motivationally, in terms of self-confidence, in terms of, really taking responsibility for your lives and planning entrepreneurially if you go in that direction. Okay, so a bit more detail about the peer learning. I already mentioned you're solving real problems or tackling real learning challenges. So, you might get a challenge that says, program a game that has the properties of Tetris. And then there is a description of the exact specifications. And then you go out and you use Google, you use YouTube, you go use the various fora that you go on the team chat, you speak with your peers, and you start to do it. And bit by bit, you're learning all the things that you need to build something like that. And you start with fairly easy challenges, and with each challenge you get experience points, and you move forward in our curriculum in the learning chart. Lotte will go into a bit more detail how that looks practically. What I think is really the key aspect here is that you learn how to learn. You learn to teach yourself a new skill, and that is what you will need to do for the rest of your life. I find myself learning new skills and needing to solve new problems all the time. So even more important than that you learn a specific set of skills in 42 is that you get the mindset to be able to tackle any new project that you're interested in. And as mentioned before, the fact that it's a peer learning setup means that you develop really good teamwork and communication skills as well. So I've already mentioned the fact that you are measured by moving forward in the levels, but and that is of course important to make progress, but failing is really part of the process, as I'm sure you experienced when you did the introduction tests to move forward in the application process. There was no instructions. And of course, then you need to find out what are the rules of this environment and how do I solve the problem? What's even the goal of that particular game, right? Was the question. And so we really encourage you to think in iterations, to try out solutions and then observe and learn from what you observed. And at least according to me and to the many colleagues in the 42 network, that's a very effective and realistic learning experience that is certainly competitive, if not superior, to the traditional academic learning environment. Now, let me explain a bit more about the peer reviews, right? So there's no professors, but you're all learners too. So how can you learn from each other? Well, you're all learning and you're all looking at the problem from different perspectives. So it is absolutely valid and useful to get feedback from others who are looking at the same problem, and you're basically progressing together. So again, the peer review process is something that we took straight from real life software engineering practice. So when you become a coder at Google, of course you contribute to an enormous, gigantic code base that has evolved over many, many, many years. So it would be foolish to just let everybody contribute to that code base without having really good checks and balances and quality assurance. And what that is really the peer reviews. So when you start at a company like Google or any other big software team, they will have peer reviews. Before you commit the code to the code base, it's important to show it to others, and they give you feedback and let you know what they would do differently. They might ask questions. They might ask you to expand a bit on the documentation. And that's exactly what we are doing in the 42 environment. And again, this gives you not only the good coding learning experience, it gives you the skill to give and receive feedback, which is absolutely crucial, and we think will serve you well, not just in your professional life, but in life in general. And you're getting, through these peer learnings, you're getting to argue yourself why you think in a certain way, and you get to express your perspective on things. Now, so far we have talked about mostly about the core learning at the 42 school. But if you join us, there are two internships that are part of your learning experience. Namely, after the core curriculum, you do a first 4 to 6 month internship. Then you come back, you do a specialization, and you do another 6 month internship. And for us, it's really important to ensure that those internships are not just, you show up and you and they then think about something that you could do. In the worst case, you're preparing coffee or something. No, these are really well thought through internship programs where we work with the companies to train the hosts, your managers, so that they think about the right startup project to get you in the environment, and then a real project that you can solve where you contribute real value to the company and your learning, because you have a mentor, a host who is, of course, a well-seasoned developer and can show you by having you shadow how he is doing things. And then when you're a little bit further, you pair program. You really sit together, you write some code, he comments on it, she comments on it, and the other way around. All we can say is that the system is working really well. About 94% of our mentors would recommend the interns for employment, and many actually do get job offers already after the first internship. And then if they choose to accept, which a good number of you do, and that's totally okay. We are here to set you up on a path to develop your career. And if you find an interesting job opportunity, we're happy that you're taking it. But those who come back then specialize for another year, year and a half, 2 years, however you feel like you want to specialize, and then take a final practice session, another 6 months in an internship. And after that, even 98% get a job offer before graduating. So, we cannot guarantee, but there is a really, really high chance that you will get a job offer following the studies with us. And so far, we have talked about the environment, about the approach, and of course, given Corona, we will work on solutions that are basically lockdown resilient, right? We will work on versions where we don't have to come together in a physical space. But this is what you see on this slide is what we are preparing in the moment for you. It's the Markthalle in Wolfsburg, really central, 2 minutes from the train station, right in the pedestrian area of the town. It will be open 24/7 for you, so you can come and work whenever you have your most creative, your most productive time. We will have a really nice kitchen where you can prepare meals with your team. We have a social and gaming area where you can hang out. We have chill out rooms and showers. In the chill out rooms, there are even a couple of these Asian capsule hotel beds, so you can sleep for a couple of hours if you want to take a break. And then more on the pedagogical, on the learning side, we are working on a Fab Lab, which will have all the standard facilities of a maker lab, a laser cutter, and 3D printers, and so on, if you like that. But it will also have a really extensive electronic section and a section where you can hack on automotive technology, on drones, and things like that. So we're looking forward to use these facilities and build them out with you. Our friends from the co-working space, which is in the back part of the building, kindly allowed us to use their augmented reality, virtual reality lab, as well as their video and social media lab. So you can also develop an interest and get a taster of what that would look like. And with that, this was my part of the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. I'm now passing the baton to Lotte, who will give you an impression of how it is to study from a student perspective. Thank you so much, and looking forward to see you in the Q&A soon.
Thank you, Max. So, hey everyone. So my name is Lotte. I'm 25 years old, and before I joined Codam, which is the 42 in Amsterdam, I finished the studies as a media designer, game artist. This is studies where you learn how to make game art assets using Photoshop, Illustrator, and like 3D software. And once I finished these studies after 4 years, I realized I couldn't really get into the market. I couldn't really find a job. I was either not good enough with my art, or companies would ask me for some kind of experience with coding, which would mostly like the HTML side, so create website stuff. And so I started working in a restaurant instead, which is not really what my parents wanted, of course. So in my free time, I would look for courses online to maybe find like a course that could teach me some web programming. And then one day on Instagram, I got an advertisement for Codam, a school with no teachers. It's open 24/7. There's no tuition fee. It's all free. And, I'm someone that takes just whatever comes onto my path and just see how it goes. So I did the online test. I passed it, like you guys. I signed up for the Piscine. I quit my job. And if I get in, then I get in, and otherwise we'll see what happens. And I got in, and ever since I've gotten in at 42, all these opportunities presented themselves to me. So after just 8 months of studying at 42, I was offered a job as a part-time junior developer, and even now I still get like job offers like every other week through LinkedIn. And last year July, I was given the honor to present the curriculum to Her Majesty the Queen of the Netherlands, which is something like, wow, who does that? Who gets to present something to the Queen of a country? And right now I'm doing my internship here at 42 Wolfsburg to spread this, this amazing new way of learning. So let me show you what it's like to study at 42. So this is our curriculum. And as you can see, it kind of looks like a little galaxy. So with all these, all these tiny little planets, and all these planets, they represent projects. And everyone starts right here in the middle. Right after you finish the Piscine, everyone starts at the same projects. And this is kind of the core of the curriculum. In the Piscine, you'll start learning the programming language C. And C is a middle level language, which means it's relatively close to the language of the computer. And what that also means is that it's very easy to learn other high-level languages in the future. So it's very it's very handy to be able to adapt to future languages. So as you can see, the inner circle of the curriculum contains a bunch of layers. And all these little dots represent projects, which will teach you the core of programming in C. These projects cover 6 major subjects in programming, which are Unix, algorithms, networks, system administration, some graphics programming, and some object-oriented coding. And it's a gamified curriculum. And what that means is that with each project you gain experience points. And with experience points you level up. And by finishing one project, you unlock the next circle. And then once you finish those, you unlock the next one. So let me show you my personal graph, which is this one. And as you can see, each project will give you different amounts of experience points. And as you might notice, some projects take longer than others, and some will just take a week. Some may take you 2 months, and some you may do all by yourself, and some you will have to do in a team. So now you may wonder, okay, but who evaluates these projects? Since there's no teachers at our school. So once you finish a project, it will be evaluated by your peers, so you're the other students in the school. You signed up for an evaluation, and the system will match you with someone to evaluate you. And with the help of an evaluation sheet, your peer will then review your project. And then after 3 to 5 evals, you will then either pass or you will fail your project. At 42, not only 42 Wolfsburg, but the whole 42 network, we put failing at the center of learning. Because only by failing, you learn from your previous mistakes. And you see the only consequence of failing a project is that you have the chance to start over. And by giving you as many retries as you need for a project, you make sure that by the end of it, you have the right knowledge you need to move to the next project. So let's get back to our little universe. So once you finish the inner circle, you reach this outer one. And this is where the fun begins. This is where you get to use what you've learned in the core and use that in the real world. So this is where I am right now. You get the opportunity to do a paid internship for 4 to 6 months and then use this knowledge that you've acquired in the inner circle to test it out in the real world. Now after you finish this internship, the rest of the curriculum opens up. And it allows you to further master the big subjects that are used in the industry, going from algorithms and artificial intelligence, with even some machine learning, to advanced graphics, object-oriented mobile and function programming. And we have some advanced web security and malicious code branches, which is they go very deeply into the subject. Then there's advanced Unix and some network programming, and of course some reverse engineering and kernel programming. And then once you've mastered one of these topics, you get here. So you reach like the little hearts, which is where you master one of these branches. And this is where you reach level 21. Now, as you might notice, 21 is half of 42. Which means that you've officially acquired half of the knowledge you need to make it in the outside world, and you get to learn the other half in real life. So now I would like to pass the mic to Philip, who will tell you more about what you can do after level 21.
So, hello, my name is Philip. I help here with operations and a bunch of other things at 42 Wolfsburg, and I'd like to tell you a bit more about life after level 21. 42 really equips you with limitless career options after when you complete the curriculum or when you decide to leave. And that's because it allows you to build a portfolio depending on your interests and skills. So you can really decide as you go through the curriculum what projects to take and what projects you find not so interesting. And as a result, you sharpen your profile in one way or another. And the staff and mentors and everybody can give you advice, but it's obviously up to you. So here on the right of that graph, for example, you see a little a web that shows you, in which directions, for example, you could go, but there's many, many more. So you could say, I want to go into databases, or you want to go into graphics and motion design if you want to become a UX designer, or as I said, databases if you want to be a systems engineer. So there's lots of different ways of sharpening your profile. And then as you complete these projects, you have a portfolio that you can then show to your next employer. So you're not showing just the CV. You said, oh, I've graduated from 42 Wolfsburg. You say, I've graduated from 42 Wolfsburg, and here are all the projects I completed in these fields. So your employer can see immediately what important work you've done. But next to these hard skills, there's also these 21st century soft skills that are being taught at 42 Wolfsburg. And I think they're almost as important, if not more important, than the hard tech skills. And the main reason for this is the tech moves so fast. So one thing we're teaching you is to learn how to learn. Tech moves incredibly fast. So unless you keep learning and keep acquiring new skills, you may not stay relevant. What's been relevant in programming even 5 years ago may not be relevant today. So you need to keep staying up to date. You need to keep being relevant for today's environment. And in order to do that, you need to learn, how to tackle new projects. And that's really at the core of 42. And that's why we believe 42 gives you a lifelong skills to stay relevant in your careers and beyond. And the other thing that's really important in your career and also life is teamwork. And that's the other big soft skill that we're teaching. Because of that peer-to-peer approach, you keep working with your peers and maybe even friends eventually, and you know how to give feedback and how to receive feedback and how to collaborate and tackle problems together. And that'll be very, very relevant almost in any organization. But even if you work just as a freelancer, you will always work with people. And unless you learn really well how to work with people and how they how to give feedback, how to act among people, that will also make you successful. So on the next slide, you see some examples of some of those portfolios some of our alumni have taken. So on the left, for example, you have a student that decided to become a security expert, and she has focused on Unix, focused a bit on motion design, and particularly on security. And she wanted to go into cyber and became a security expert. But we also have people that became entrepreneurs, system engineers. So there's so many different examples. Again, almost every profile is unique and qualifies you for different jobs. And it's not just us that are saying that. So we have a bunch of testimonials. I don't want to go through all of them here, but the one I'm most proud of is Vince Cerf. Vince Cerf is the founding father of the internet. He was one of the original designers of how the internet works today. And he also says, this learning approach that 42 has, this project-based learning and the peer-to-peer learning, that's how our brain works. And especially in coding, that's how you learn how to code. So it's really a great concept, not just for the school itself, but for also what enables you to do it afterwards. So with that, I want to hand over to Lisa on how to get in.
Hey, just popping up on your screen now. My name is Lisa. Max introduced me at the beginning, and I will tell you a little bit more about how do you actually get into 42 Wolfsburg. By now you heard everything about our educational model, about the curriculum, you've seen some projects, some examples, but there's also an application process. So first of all, of course, if you're here, it means that you already won the game. So congratulations, that's already a major step. And that means that today we are in a part of the introduction. So after this introduction, you will get an invitation to an FAQ that you can join. This will be a live session where you can answer, you can ask any kind of question that you want and they will get answered. And after that Q&A, you can actually check in. When you checked in, you can choose a selection Piscine of your liking. And I don't know if you already maybe read a little bit here and there about selection Piscine, but I am going to tell you a little bit more about what that means.
I actually done the Piscine myself, not in 42 Wolfsburg, but I actually done it in Finland and one of our sister schools with the name of Hive. So I can tell you everything about the Piscine and about my experience. So the piscine, to start with, is the French word for swimming pool. And it basically means that in this selection month, in this piscine, you're going to jump into the water with your friends and you're going to learn to swim all together. You're going to learn how to survive all together. What's really important to know is that we really don't care about any kind of coding experience that you have, or high school grades, or what you've done before this, or not even a high school diploma. It really doesn't matter to us. What matters to us is that you come in, you show us what you got, you come in every day, show your motivation, and really try to learn as much as you can and have as much fun as you can with your peers in the piscine and really get to know them. And the nice thing is about this piscine is that this is also a moment for you to really understand if you like programming. Because the nice thing is that if you are curious about programming, but you're not really sure if it's for you, or even if you are already programming, this piscine is really a good fit. And I will tell you why. So first of all, if you don't have much experience, but you're just curious if programming is something that is for you, you can try out this piscine. It's 1 month of coding, it's free. And if you really don't like it, the only thing that you lost is time, because you simply just stand up and leave and that's it. And if you do really like it, well, that's really great. Join the team. And for other people who are already experienced, actually this is a really cool experience as well, because you have so many projects, so you can really go into depth with the amount of theory and the amount of skills that you can build up during this piscine. But the most important thing is that it's really not a competition. We have spots for enough people. I mean, it will be a selection at the end, but there are enough spots for people. So if 100% of the group is amazing, we can actually select 100% of the group. However, we will look at, do you actually like it? Is this a fit for you? Do you like the educational model? So without further ado, let's dive a little bit more into what the piscine means and how it looks like and everything. So the piscine is 4 weeks. So I already said it. So it's selection month. It's 4 weeks. But it's not only 4 weeks, but it's also 7 days a week. I'm just giving you a second to let that sink in, because that means that it includes weekends. And I will explain you in the next slide how that looks like and why and how that goes. So every piscine is 4 weeks long and it's 7 days a week. This year, well, actually not this year, but 2021, we will organize 3 piscines in total with 150 candidates per piscine. And in this selection piscine, you really start to experience programming in the language C. And you really start from scratch. So you just go into a building, you log in, and if you don't know how to log in, you can look to your left, you can look to your right, or if it's remote, you can look online, ask online, and you can log in, and you open for the first time your project, you open for the first time your terminal, and you start to program in C from scratch. So the reason why we chose C, Lotte already explained it a little bit ago, but the point is that after this experience, you really know if this is for you. So not only the programming, but also the educational model. And I know it's a bit cheesy to say it's an unforgettable experience, but I do really mean that. So for me, I studied communications, a very general topic, a very general field. But I did notice that in my field, there is much more coding experience required, more and more and more. So even though that I studied communications, everything is online. So having some basic experience, basic knowledge of programming was very important for me. So in the end, I decided to do Piscine so I could really experience what it is to build my first programs, how I have to read code, how I have to look at it. And then afterwards, you will really know if you like it and if that is for you. For me, I didn't choose the curriculum. But yeah, many people do choose to do the curriculum. And so, let's look a little bit about how that looks like, because, well, you've seen the curriculum before, so it's a bit similar in the sense that you have every circle is a specific project, and you have to do the first project in order to move on to the next project. So from Monday to Friday, you have a set of individual projects available to you, and every day from Monday to Friday you would work on your individual projects. Every time you hand in an individual project, you have to hand it in, and then you get randomly linked to 2 peers who will have to review you. So that's very similar as the curriculum, where you also get the peer feedback. And then with those 2 feedbacks and the feedback from the computer, so is it actually working, the code, you will get a grade, and then you will move on to the next set of projects. If you didn't make it, you just start again and do it again. So if you move on to the next set of projects and that set of projects. From Monday to Friday, you have that time. In the weekends, and that's why there are weekends, you will have something that we call a rush. This is a group project. So you do this group project with 2 other people, and they get randomly selected. So you get selected with 2 other people on Friday evening. You will have to reach out to each other, and then you will have to start your first group project, which is really, really cool, because it's the first time you have to code together. It's also the first time you have to link each other's code. You have to discuss strategy. You have to discuss time management, team management, and everything. And then every Friday, for lack of a better word, we have the end monsters, which are very boringly also the exams. And in this exam, and it sounds bigger than it is, but it basically is just a moment of 4 hours that you do not have access to Wi-Fi, you do not have access to your peers, and you get small challenges and you have to solve them by yourself. So this is a really great moment to also see, did I actually understood everything that I learned during these past week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks? So every Friday you have an end monster, and the last Friday of the month you have actually 8 hours. So that one starts in the morning and then takes 8 hours. So you get 8 hours to really show us what you learned and what you've done the last 4 weeks. Furthermore, we really want to make sure that the Piscine for you is possible to do. So we are working on different solutions to see if we can help you out. However, I can imagine that for every person you have a specific situation or a specific question. So if you have any very personal questions, or you want to share your story, or you're doubting and you just want to get some feedback from one of us, you can always book a call, or you can send us an email. We can make some kind of appointment. So you can share your message to admissions@42wolfsburg.de. There it will be answered by Lotte, who did the part of this presentation. Or you can always ask for one of us to talk to, and then we will see if we can schedule a quick call. Nonetheless, of course, you are going to be invited to the FAQ. So if you have any other kind of question, you can just drop them in the FAQ and we can answer them live. So so that was the part of the Piscine. And then when the Piscine is done, and hopefully you get selected, you are actually ready to start your kickoff. So that is the start of your curriculum. And then all the super ultra coding fun begins. But of course, we will tell you all about that when it's due time. All right, so I will hand out the mic back to Lotte. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Lotte here from the future. We just agreed that we are going to be doing the Piscines of 2021 all online. So that means even if you are unable to make it to Wolfsburg at the time of the Piscines, you'll be able to do it remotely from home. I'm looking forward to seeing you at our Q&A session to ask all your questions and get your verification link to be able to continue in the process and then sign up for a Piscine. Looking forward to see you there. Bye.